Honestly, I think by the time I'm finished, I'll be looking at 100,000, 150,000 in debt.
Right now, my total debt is about $26,000, and that's crazy for me because I've never seen that kind of money ever.
I think it'll be about 15 years to pay back my loans.
I want to pursue a master's and a PhD, so the number is just unfathomable. I can't even give you like a grand total.
The government's kind of abandoned me, and I don't know how I'm going to pay for college anymore.
A young person today who's looking to go to college is really looking at one of the best investments they can make in their future career. They're also looking at a really tough time in terms of financing that education. For your typical college student, money's pretty tight. Their costs are increasing quite rapidly. Kids today are spending a lot more on college than their parents' generation did, and they have a lot less access to the kinds of grant or aid programs than their parents' generation did.
There's been a staggering change in federal grant aid. 20 years ago, the Pell Grant, the most basic need-based grant, used to cover 60% of a student's tuition and fees. Now it's at 33%, and that number is only expected to decrease even more.
The federal government has shifted its role away from just providing grant aid that the student doesn't have to repay, and towards providing access to more loans.
Currently, I work 30 hours a week at Home Depot.
I work right now like 30 hours a week.
Because I have to work so much and all that I do outside of school, I really don't have the time for anything else.
I'm working 4 separate jobs just to pay my tuition and try to keep the loans and debt to a minimum, but it's not quite making it.
Recent college graduates are facing such high levels of debt, unmanageable levels of debt, that they're holding off on having families, buying a car, buying a home, and being active community and citizen members in our country. And so unfortunately, we're no longer seeing what the goal and the purpose of higher education was supposed to be founded on.
It changed your whole mindset once you have 26,000 just staring at you once you get out of college. You know, you gotta just think, how am I gonna pay this back? You know, I gotta scramble, I gotta do this and do that before you can actually sit down and get your life straight and just get on the track you actually want to get onto.
I want to go out there and make a difference, and those aren't the kind of jobs that are going to just pay off debt. But it's kind of one of those things, do I go with what my passion says or what the debts kind of tell me I need to pay off?
You get debt and you have to take a job to pay that back, and then you just get stuck in this whole like debt circle where that you can't get out of, because you have to borrow money to get a house, you have to borrow money to do this, and you have to pay that money back, and then all this stuff is it's like a big loop that you keep going around.
I feel the students are panicking as far as they pursue their higher education. They're worrying about where am I going to get the funds from instead of just being concerned with an education is what I need.
Most students are working, and we need help. Like, we can't just keep doing this. It's not fair to ourselves, and it's not fair to our education system to put it on the back burner while we keep working and just kind of do the minimal amount of homework and the minimal amount of learning.
If we don't make any changes now, unfortunately, higher education is no longer going to be accessible to anyone and everyone who qualifies. For those many students that rely on these federal aid programs, the doors of higher education will be closed to them.
We've really changed the rules in terms of who can go to college and whether or not we can expect young people to pay for it.
We have to make a dramatic shift, and we have to be able to fight for our students today and tomorrow and for the future. The U.S. Student Association is the country's oldest and largest national student association, representing millions of students across the country. We are the student voice in the Capitol, the White House, and the Department of Education, and we fight to make education a right. So we're here to be a resource, we're here to help fight for students, we're here to train students, we're here to engage and empower students to take a more active role in higher education, in the fight and the struggle to make sure that higher education is accessible to everyone.